The FlorAlive patented process yields healing frequencies collected from uncut flowers and is absolutely unique for the following reasons. First, the flowers we use are collected in pristine and wild environments around the world. We select them from growth areas near vortexes where they are receiving input of information from higher dimensions. That information is directly correlated with the healing of core characteristics that are blocking the evolution of consciousness and the balanced unfolding of our lives. Another way of stating this is, the FlorAlive flower frequencies are harmoniously accelerating the ascension process. Second, they are profoundly coherent energy, that is to say, highly organized, collected from source in the most pure form possible without artificial mechanical or electronic processing, so there are no unwanted energetic signatures or artifacts that generally arise in commercial manufacturing. Also, they bestow healing frequencies and remove limiting, defeating subconscious beliefs in a completely clear method that is free from whatever shortcomings the practitioner may have. A simple model has emerged that is not by my design, but rather it took shape from the higher guidance that has endowed the flowers used in FlorAlive with transformational and healing properties. The model is threefold. The first and most critical stage to recognize is the deep level in the unconscious or subconscious mind where we store memories of emotional pain or trauma. This could be trauma experienced in childhood or childbirth, breakup of relationships, tapping into what psychiatrist Carl Jung called the collective unconscious, and unwittingly absorbing other people's pain as our own, or historical traumatic events that are carried from far in the past. Experts from many different fields attest to the central importance of memory of trauma as a limiter in our life. The flagship product Revival has the remarkable ability to clear the memory of trauma and pain with the astonishing frequencies of 6 amazing flowers. After experiencing emotional trauma, there is a process of shutting down, depicted in the second stage, which very much limits how we receive and causes us to miss opportunities that would normally come to us in life. The emotional armor we put on to protect ourselves from pain also locks out love and abundance. We become defensive, wanting to control situations so that we avoid experiencing further upset. Abundant Life Essences numbers 1 and 2 contain frequencies to first reawaken our receiving process and then enable forgiveness, non-judgment, and freedom from the need to control. After that repair and reawakening, one is able to move to the highest stage depicted in level 3, where we receive additional shielding and protection from negativity. And finally, with Abundant Life 4, empowerment of the higher parts of ourselves. The purpose of this condensed workshop is first to show you how to identify and measure in your patients and clients if they are holding particular defeating beliefs in the subconscious mind. And second, to show you how to match the indicated FlorAlive flower frequency to the individual so that the defeating belief is overwritten and removed by specific flower harmonics. There are 2 methods I integrated to enable us to choose the flowers needed at each visit, where we do an assessment. So we'll start with the first part of the FlorAlive protocol I named Holographic Scanning. Once you understand how to do that, we'll look at the second part of the protocol that uses standard AK muscle testing. Then we'll review excerpts from a workshop so that you see in actual practice how it works. If you have not downloaded the PDF of the Holographic Scanning protocol, please do so now. Welcome to the FlorAlive transformation process. I'm going to show you how the various components fit together and how you can rather quickly check someone to find out the specific flower frequencies that can really change their life by removing unwanted subconscious mind patterns. There is a PDF download. It's a holographic scanning protocol. It's just 1 page. If you have not downloaded that, I'd suggest doing that and getting that. The last thing that's very important, of course, is to have the test kit. We have level 1 and level 2, basic level 1 and level 2, and you have the individual spray testers. We'll be seeing how those work in just a minute. They're really great. They're very convenient to use to test the product. So there are 49 single essences available. So what I'm going to do today is to do something that is not essentially part of this process, but I want to show you how powerful this is. I just realized in the last part of 2008 that this is a very valid additional tool, which is to use a very strong 7,000 Gauss magnet. And when we do that, we're going to actually be putting the magnetic field at the tip of the magnet. There are two 3,500 Gauss magnets. I've just put tape on them, but some of them are encased with plastic. When you put them together, you have 7,000 Gauss. And the magnetic field energy that comes out of that is actually very strong. So you can place it over various different areas of the brain and watch to see what happens in standard manual muscle testing. It's a challenge to see if the area of the brain, if the brain tissue is functioning correctly or if it's compromised, in which case the patient will go weak. Okay. So we're going to do a standard muscle test to observe the effect of putting that 7,000 Gauss magnetic field into the influence of various areas of the brain. First, just a normal test. Pull toward me, pull strong. Okay, so she's pulling this direction into me. Okay, we're going to come here, look straight ahead. Pull, pull. Okay, that she gave way there on the left frontal. Pull, pull, pull strong, pull strong. Pull strong. All right, let's go to the back here. Pull strong. We're in the occipital areas. Pull strong. And then I'm going down to the brainstem area. Pull strong. Okay, let's try to pull hard. There's nothing there. So you had one area of those, all the different areas. I did the frontals, temporals, parietal, occipital, and brainstem area. And out of all of those areas, one of those areas of the brain shows normal function. In other words, it can resist the 7,000 Gauss field without causing weakness, which is the way it should be. All of those areas should be strong. So once we've done the assessment, at the end I'm going to come back and find out what changes. I do this routinely in the office and it helps people understand, oh, my brain actually changed. Because a lot of what we're doing with the flowers, people can't see it. After they've taken it, they see the change or they feel the change. But this is something you can do before the person leaves the office. So now we're ready to begin the use of the green sheets for the holographic scanning. Get the legs, the feet relaxed, and some movement of the legs, and put the upward pressure there so we can then check for which flowers are going to be indicated, and so we can then check for asking the body, show yes, show no. Now show me a yes. Okay, so we get the movement of the yes and no. It's important to understand how to work with the feet so that we get a response from the nervous system in response to our thought projection. So the way of holding the feet is very important. We pay attention to our hand position where the little finger is underneath the heel. We make care not to bring the fingers around this way so that they're touching. We have to get the fingers behind the heel, and we're taking with our thumbs a hold of the other part of the foot. If the feet are huge, and if men have very, very large feet, it's a little bit different position, but most important thing is that our one or two fingers are underneath the heels so that we can keep a headward, a cephalad pressure, just a little bit, and we end up asking the body then, we're projecting a thought into the superconsciousness of the body with a question where we say, show me yes, and the body has a response, where in this case it's about 1/4 of an inch. We let it come back to neutral, bring it to neutral, and we say to the body, show me no, and I'm putting equal pressure up and it's 1/4 of an inch. It sometimes is as much as 1/2 an inch or even almost 3/4 of an inch, and it can be as short a change as 1/8 of an inch. If it's less than that, it's pretty hard to tell what's going on. So we really want to make sure that we have our energy balanced, we're connected with the patient, we are grounded, and we get a movement of energy. And if we're not grounded and are not present in our body, then this technique may not work. And we then start projecting energy toward the body with a question where we say, show me yes, and the body, where in this case it's about 1/4 of an inch, we let it come back to neutral, bring it to neutral, and we say to the body, show me no, And I'm putting equal pressure up, and it's 1/4 of an inch. And we start out with the first flower, Machilina, and it comes up, yes. Then next, 2, 3, 4, 5. So on that sheet, we just checked 7 flowers. One of them came up. Machilina came up positive. Turn it over, and the next one is not. Okay. Madame Fate comes up, yes. Next, no. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, no. So we had 1 Madame Fate there. We go to the 3rd page. Herb of the Cross has a very large yes. Next, nothing. Flor del Oso, another big one. And nothing more on that. And then the last page, the first one is False Dandelion. It's a large yes. Next. They don't change. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those don't change. So that's how quickly you can go through all of those flowers. And that's why it's very important. It's the first stage of screening. That's what we call the presumptive. We think that that's what's going to be needed. And we'll use that. So we're going to begin the process of self-referential statement using the flowers that we found in the holographic scanning portion, where we're projecting the image of the flower. We'd make note of what those were, or what they are, and then we'll begin to test those. We're going to begin the process of self-referential statement using the flowers that we found in the holographic scanning portion. The first one that we found with Ashley, pull toward me, pull strong. Say the phrase, regardless of my efforts, I cannot influence the outcome.
Regardless of my efforts, I cannot influence the outcome.
Pull strongly. Say, no matter what action I take, I will be defeated.
No matter what action I take, I will be defeated.
Pull hard. All right, now that is staying strong. So the muscle stayed strong, meaning coherent. Her subconscious mind believes that to be true, not a good thing at all. This is one of the most powerful and profound flowers of all. I say that quite often about a lot of the flowers. Machilina is the first one on the test sheets, and it has that phrase, no matter what action I take, I will be defeated. Regardless of my efforts, I cannot influence the outcome. We don't want that to be true. It was showing true. So we have 4 other flowers that have shown here. Say, I'm free from the influence of negative thoughts and beings.
I am free from the influence of negative thoughts and beings.
Pull toward me. Okay, so there was no strength there. Say, I am comfortable being out of control.
I am comfortable being out of control.
Pull strong. Let's try that again. Keep your elbow straight. I'm comfortable being out of control.
I am comfortable being out of control.
Pull hard. Says, no, it's not true. Say, I am fully receiving input.
I am fully receiving input.
From my highest spiritual resources.
From my highest spiritual resources.
Pull strong. And the key word there is fully receiving. And she wasn't, because that weakened. And then the last one is, pull toward me, pull strong just to make sure. Her arm is still there. Say, I cannot release the hurt trapped inside of me.
I cannot release the hurt trapped inside of me.
Pull hard. All right, so she did not test strong on that, said not true. I cannot release the hurt. Let's try that one more time. Okay, say the phrase, I cannot release the hurt trapped inside of me.
I cannot release the hurt trapped inside of me.
Pull strong. Okay, so that one, I originally came up with that as being needed. I thought that false dandelion would be needed, but as we do the muscle testing, it's not. So either we have a different test phrase, or she doesn't need that flower. So let's find out if there's another test phrase. Say, I cannot release the rage trapped inside of me.
I cannot release the rage trapped inside of me.
Pull strong. Okay, let's try it again. Say, I cannot release the rage.
I cannot release the rage trapped inside of me.
Pull strong. So I don't think she needs that flower. Okay, we tried the different test phrases. You can experiment, and this is a good example. When you come up with the holographic scanning that says that a flower is needed, And you go back and you do the semantic screening, and the test phrases don't match, and they didn't in this case. This testing does not corroborate the holographic scanning. Then you can do some more searching to find out if there is a different test phrase for the flower. So this is a good example. All right, then we'll actually put the, often I'll do these one at a time, and I'll test one at a time, but in this case I'm just going to put them all in and we'll retest. And each of these only need about a spray. You can either mix the bottle up in your office, or those can be ordered online and they're shipped out from FlorAlive. So we have all of those test phrases. Keep your elbow straight and pull toward me. Say the phrase, regardless of my efforts,
Regardless of my efforts,
I cannot influence the outcome.
I cannot influence the outcome.
Be strong. Okay, so there's nothing there. Say, no matter what action I take, I will be defeated.
No matter what action I take, I will be defeated.
Pull strong. No, there's nothing there. Okay, pull toward me. Here say, I am free from the influence of negative thoughts and beings.
I am free from the influence of negative thoughts and beings.
Pull strongly. Good. Say, I am fully receiving input
I am fully receiving input
from my highest spiritual resources.
from my highest spiritual resources.
Pull strongly. Lovely. And say the phrase, I am comfortable being out of control.
I am comfortable being out of control.
Pull strong. Let's try it one more time. Say, I'm comfortable being out of control.
I am comfortable being out of control.
Okay, keep pulling. Pull hard. Okay, beautiful. So those changed. They became the opposite of what we originally found. So when we first tried over the cross, for example, I'm comfortable being out of control, it weakened, meaning that it was not true. Now we go back after having placed the spray lingually, and we see when we retest it with the self-referential statement, I'm comfortable being out of control, then it stayed strong, meaning true, coherent. So you can explain that. Now the subconscious mind is coherent with that, and at the unconscious level, you have the correct command, the correct program playing. An additional diagnostic tool that I've added in the last year, I started doing this in 2008, was using two 3500 Gauss magnets placed together for 7,000 Gauss. And the field energy that comes out of the end of that can be used to challenge various areas of the brain. It's simple, it's a normal applied kinesiology challenge to tissue. If that challenge causes an intact muscle or facilitated muscle to weaken, to be inhibited, then there's something going on in that area of the brain that cannot resist that stress. So whether it's circulation or electrical function, we can't really say, but something in that tissue is not healthy, and it's very interesting to see what happens after you administer the FlorAlive frequencies, to watch what happens to the balancing of brain activity as a result of that challenge. So we could do that right now. Just keep your elbow straight, and you're going to pull toward me, pull upward. Okay, so we'll come into the frontal areas first, pull. Pull. Okay, pull. Pull. Let's try that again. Pull. Okay, keep your elbow straight here. All right. Let's try it again. Pull strong. Okay, pull. So these are quite weak here. Pull. In the left frontal area. And then we can go over to here. Pull. Pull. To the occipital area, pull. That's fine. Pull. Let's try it. Keep your elbow straight. Pull again. That's weak. Brainstem area, pull hard. And pull hard. Okay, so several more, the majority of those areas were weakened when we put the challenge of that magnetic field. So we just make a note of that administer the test substances and then come back at the end and recheck and see what happens. Now we're ready to begin the holographic scanning process, and we'll use the 2 green sheets and then the newer basic level 2 blue sheet with the 12 new flower essences. And make sure the legs have free external rotation and internal rotation, and that the feet are relaxed. You'll notice that I have my hands positioned with the little finger underneath, and I'm ready to put a little bit of headward pressure, and then I can begin the scanning process where I look at each flower and I project the energy of the flower into the superconsciousness of the patient. The patient's unconscious and superconscious mind receives that frequency from the image of the flower and responds as to whether it's productive or beneficial or neutral. So that's what we're going to look at, and we project the image of the flower. Begin not the test phrase, because the image of the flower has all the information. The test phrase is only a small portion of the transformational change that each of these flower frequencies can create. All right, so now we begin the first part, which is marking up the feet, okay, and people will have various amounts of tension. Here, the particular patient is good, the feet are relaxed. We bring them together. You can get a simple pin. You mark it on one side, you mark it on the other side, so that those 2 marks come together. In this particular situation, then, it does not matter if the person's leg length is even or not, because we've created even marks. So it's important to understand how to work with the feet so that we get a response from the nervous system in response to our thought projection. So the way of holding the feet is very important. We pay attention to our hand position, where the little finger is underneath the heel. We make care not to bring the fingers around this way so that they're touching. We have to get the fingers behind the heel, and we're taking with our thumbs a hold of the other part of the foot. If the feet are huge, and if men have very, very large feet, it's a little bit different position, but most important thing is that our 1 or 2 fingers are underneath the heels so that we can keep a headward, a cephalad pressure, just a little bit, and we end up asking the body then, we are projecting a thought into the superconsciousness of the body with a question where we say, show me yes, and the body has a response, where in this case it's about 1/4 of an inch. We let it come back to neutral, bring it to neutral, and we say to the body, show me no, and I'm putting equal pressure up, and it's 1/4 of an inch. It sometimes is as much as 1/2 an inch or even almost 3/4 of an inch, and it can be as short a change as 1/8 of an inch. If it's less than that, it's pretty hard to tell what's going on. So we really want to make sure that we have our energy balanced, we're connected with the patient, we are grounded, and we get a movement of energy. And if we're not grounded and are not present in our body, then this technique may not work. So here we go again. We'll say, show me yes, show me no, show me yes, show me no. Right, now, a lot of times in summer months, I'm shooting this in the summer months, people come in with their sandals, so we mark this on the feet. Or even in the wintertime, we've been seeing people coming in with shoes that don't have heels on them in the back. So if they come in with normal heels on the shoes, tennis shoes, anything like that, you just use the bottom of the shoe, which is very, very clear, very easy to mark. But a lot of women come in sandals and high heels and stuff like that. So we just mark the foot that way, but you can use the shoe as well. So then we ask for the initial show yes, and show no, and show yes, the body showing yes or no. Okay, so we're ready to begin the use of the green sheets and to screen the flowers from the first set. And I'm holding upward pressure on the feet so that I can move through the projection of each of these flower pictures quickly and watching to see if there's a change in leg length. And then we begin the projection of the flower into the superconsciousness of the patient, and they will respond unconsciously. They have absolutely no idea what we're doing. This is why this is such a useful technique, because it removes the possibility for the patient creating a response. It's totally separate from the muscle testing phenomenon. So it's very useful to use it. So we start out with, it's the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. That's how long it takes. When you get good at that, I'm just projecting that, and you'll see you're just going down the images, projecting them, the totality of that, into the superconsciousness of the patient, and their body will respond. You'll see a change when it comes up with the proper indicator flower. No changes there. On the second side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, nothing there. Flor de la Luna comes up positive. Okay, so the first one that came up is Flor de la Luna. That comes up positive, and then I continue on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After that, no changes. So on that sheet, one change. Now we're on the page 3. So we project up verb of the cross. Next, next, next. 1, 2, 3, 4. So nothing on that. We get to the fourth side. False dandelion, a large change, yes. 1, 2, 3, 4. After that, nothing. The last column, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's the rest of that page. I'm just holding a little bit of pressure in there, and I can feel I'm holding upward pressure, and when it changes to yes, I can actually see the leg length will move. But I'm actually holding a constant little pressure as I'm doing that checking. So we have false dandelion and Flor de la Luna so far on the level 1, the basic level 1 test phrases. So we go to the blue sheet now for the basic level 2 test phrases, the 12 flowers that were introduced in 2008. Starting with Claytonia. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm keeping a little bit of upward pressure. Nothing showed up there. Blue like Anoltia, nice change for yes. 1, 2, 3. All right. So a total of 3 flowers showed up that would be beneficial for this patient on this visit. And then we'll go to the second part of the assessment process, which is using self-referential statements to check the action of the flower and also to bring awareness into the subconscious mind and to link the subconscious with the conscious mind as to the nature of the mind obstacle, the unconscious or subconscious belief. When it's brought into conscious awareness, it really helps the body release it more quickly when you start using the flower frequencies. So from previous testing, I had already screened what the flower essences are, and so we're going to go through and do the self-referential statements with semantic screening of the statements. One of them is Flor de la Luna, flower of the moon. Okay, keep your elbows straight. Pull toward me strongly. Okay, that's solid. Say, I allow myself to receive love.
I allow myself to receive love.
Pull. It completely weakens. So that's an indication that she's not allowing herself to receive love because it's not coherent with that statement. We'll go back. Okay. The next statement is for false dandelion. Say, I cannot release the hurt trapped inside of me.
I cannot release the hurt that's trapped inside of me.
Pull strong. Okay. And say the phrase, I cannot release the rage that's trapped inside of me.
I cannot release the rage that's trapped inside of me.
Pull hard. So that's the phrase. So the hurt is she's able to release that, but the rage, I cannot release the rage trapped inside of me. Try that one more time. I cannot release the rage.
I cannot release the rage that's trapped inside of me.
Pull hard. And that says true. And then blue lechinoltia. Blue lechinoltia is the third one, which is I accept and appreciate who I am. Turn that eyes up.
I accept and appreciate who I am.
Pull hard. Oh my. Try that one more time. I accept and appreciate who I am.
I accept and appreciate who I am.
Be strong. Yeah, and it's quite weak on that one. So we'll put those 3 flowers in and then reassess them. First we do Flor de la Luna. Okay. And say, I allow myself to receive love.
I allow myself to receive love.
Pull strong. All right, that's nice. We'll do false dandelion. Okay, hold your... And say the phrase, I cannot release the rage trapped inside of me.
I cannot release the rage that's trapped inside of me.
Pull strong. Okay, that went pretty easily. Let's try it again. I cannot release the rage trapped inside me.
I cannot release the rage that's trapped inside of me.
Pull. Okay, so that gave way. It changed from what we saw previously. And the last one is blue lechinoltia. That little flower is called Floor of the Sky in Aboriginal medicine from Australia. Keep your elbow straight, pull hard. Say, I accept and appreciate who I am.
I accept and appreciate who I am.
Pull hard. And that one was really weak and it became very, very strong. So immediately that changes all the test phrases so we know that these are going to have an action. So let's take a look and see what it did to brain function. So we've given the sprays already. We saw that it changed the muscular response to the self-referential statements. So let's check again with a challenge with the 7,000 Gauss magnet and see what happens. Keep your elbow straight. Pull toward me. Pull. 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 Okay, we go to the right parietal. Pull. Right temporal. Pull. Right occipital. Pull. Left occipital. Pull. Brainstem on the left and pull. Brainstem on the right. They've all reversed, and that's not unusual to see all or almost all of the areas of the brain change, come back up in function so that the challenge does not cause weakness as it did at the beginning. It's a very nice test. It really helps the patient appreciate how it causes an instant shift. So this is a process that I call holographic scanning. It projects the energy of the flower into the superconsciousness of the patient, person being examined. Their body instantly receives that packet of energy, which is an image, and then it responds to the energy of the image to let us know if it likes the energy of that image or if it doesn't. Particularly, it's neutral. These are not, they're never negative, but we're just looking for, does the body like it? So if the body likes it, typically the right leg will shorten. We can screen the flower frequency by projecting the image of the flower. Each of these different statements has a flower, but we actually aren't even concerned with the statement. Only the energy of the flower that we can do by projecting the image of the flower onto his superconsciousness. He's just in a resting position and he is not aware of what I'm doing. So there's no way that his body can create a response, and it's an accurate way of screening. It's just the first step. So when we project the first image, there's no change. Second image projected, no change. The third image that's projected, there's no change. But when I get to the fourth image, blue-eyed grass, there's a nice change of about 1/2 inch of the right leg contracting, and then it comes back to neutral. So his body is showing a yes to that frequency. There wasn't anything else on that page. Then we turn over, go to the second page, and the same thing, and it's very rapid. You can actually project it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There were none on that page. There's one there that says yes, the first one over the cross. But that's only one flower on that page showing yes, the right leg shortening. In the chiropractic profession, this kind of leg length check is used in a system called BEST, bioenergetic synchronization technique. They use this kind of a leg length check, and it's actually been used in chiropractic healing for about 70 years. So it's not something new. I'm just applying it a little differently. It's a very useful first step in screening. And it assumes that the operators know that we live in a quantum universe that operates on the basis of frequency interactions. If people don't believe that or are stuck in Newtonian mechanics, they're not going to do this system. It's not going to work for them. So there was nothing else on that page, so we came up with just a couple. There's another very useful way of testing to enable us to see what the influence of these flowers is on balance, particularly brain balance between the various hemispheres. These are two, you can just relax there for a second, these are two 3,500 Gauss magnets, and we put them together and it forms 7,000 Gauss, and out of the end of this comes the magnetic field projection, which is enough strength to be a stressor to tissue. So if you expose the right frontal area of the brain, for example, to that magnetic influence, if that area of tissue is compromised, it will show a weakness. All right, so it's a screening test, and it's very rapid. All right, so our first, we just make sure it's strong, pull strongly against me. It is. And we come up here and we just do these various areas. Pull toward me, pull. That one gives way. The right temporal, pull, pull. Left temporal, pull hard. Left parietal, pull. Okay, so we've got the left parietal, the left frontal, pull hard. Okay, then we go to the occiput back here, pull. And let's try here, pull. That breaks a little bit, then the brainstem, pull. That's quite weak, and over here, pull toward me, pull hard. Okay, let it rest. So we're going to use, I found this in a seminar. I just happened to have my flower frequencies with me, and the people that were doing and teaching this technique were using sound, lights, light glasses, acupuncture, and lasers to try and correct brain balance. And I created a formula and found that that formula actually did the whole brain balance itself. That's how I found that out. Okay, so we're putting in, these are the drops of Revive All. And I'm just going to put one more up here. So these are 6 flowers. We've talked about the 6 flowers in the Revive All. That's an acupuncture point up there. So now we've given you exposure to those frequencies, and we're going to see what happens to this. Okay, so we had left frontal was weak. Pull hard. Pull hard. Pull. Pull on this. Pull hard on the occipital, and the brainstem was the weakest. Pull hard. Pull hard. Okay, and there's, you see, I mean, you see, it doesn't weaken.
Wow.
It doesn't weaken. And so what happens when we give this, people will often comment that they have better function, better integration. It's easier for them to think and to function. Because it's electronically, it's the frequencies of that are bringing up the energy of the brain, and apparently also causing a better integration and coordination between the hemispheres.
That was amazing.
Isn't that great? Very good. Okay, so we've done this a lot, and it gets pretty consistently helpful. So you want to use that 7,000 Gauss magnet. Okay.